Hi, my name is Sydney Phillips, and this is Brigham Young University's Assignment 8, which is the speaker's language. My specific purpose is to argue that universities should not focus on standardized test scores as much in regards to the college admissions process. Now, take a moment and remember back to a time when you were overwhelmingly stressed out about something. That time of overwhelming stress or anxiety was most likely due to school-related activities. It is about to be college admissions season, and that means that teens across the U.S. will spend this next fall and winter standing by their mailboxes, anxiously waiting for envelopes that will determine their academic future. As part of this college admissions process, that includes sending in standardized test scores that some believe accurately determine someone's college readiness. I believe this because once upon a time I was a high school student, and I would get so incredibly stressed out before and while taking the ACT and ACT that I would freeze up during the test and not be able to think clearly, as if I was paralyzed and overwhelmed by stress and anxiety. Colleges should not focus on standardized testing regarding the college admissions process because they cause too much stress in students, and they are inaccurate and they are biased. I want to first describe the effects of these tests on people and reasons why colleges should not focus on students' scores. Standardized tests such as the SAT and the ACT create an unnecessary amount of overwhelming stress on students and cause a lot of anxiety. According to a study done in Baltimore, 68% of teen stress is due to school and school-related work. According to the American Psychological Association's Stress in America survey, 31% of teens reported feeling overwhelmed, and another 30% of teens reported feeling sad or depressed as a result of this stress from these scores. These students identified school and school-related activities as the #1 cause of these feelings. One could argue that some stress and pressure is good for you and that some people perform better with stress. However, that's not to say that everyone performs better with stress. One person's stress may help them do better in some form of school-related activity, but that doesn't mean that everybody is the same. These standardized test scores do not provide a level playing field for those that are either one. Everyone is different, and just because one child may respond well to some stress does not mean another child will too. So I want to go into the health side of what stress does to somebody. When somebody becomes overwhelmingly stressed, the brain shifts into a fight or flight response, where it is impossible to engage in the higher order thinking process that is necessary to think through tough test questions. Also, when one is stressed out, the brain releases cortisol, and too much cortisol release is physiologically and physically harmful to one's body. Too much stress and therefore cortisol can lead to a weakened immune system and therefore illness. So there's no wonder that everyone seems to get sick around finals or around a lot of taking times. And here's a picture that I just wanted to touch down on, and it's how stress affects the body. And it talks about the brain, cardiovascular system, your joints and muscles, your immune system, your skin, your gut, and your reproductive system. And for example, the brain, what stress does to the brain is it causes difficulty concentrating, anxiety, depression, irritability, mood, and mind fog. So, stress has a negative effect of different parts of your body. And it's all kinds of students, not just one kind of student, that this intense stress and anxiety can affect. So why should students face this kind of apprehension due to just one test? With all this stress, students can get burned out before they even reach college, which is a whole other problem in itself. According to NYU study examines top high school student stress and coping mechanisms, 2/3 of those students describe substance use as their method of stress management. That also adds another plethora of issues that simply could be avoided by colleges not focusing on these types of tests as much. Because standardized tests cause so much stress physiologically and physically, they lead to unfavorable scores and are inaccurate representations of students' college readiness. Standardized tests may be good indicators of what subjects a student has a natural aptitude for, but does not predict one's intelligence and future success in life. Many believe that these standardized tests accurately determine success in the future, but they in fact do not determine someone's real-world success. According to the Institute for Learning, standardized tests are also inaccurate because they are tests with a time limit. A time limit applied to a test is not really a test, does not really test what a student knows or what they can do, but how quickly they can do it. So this is an artificial learning environment. You can't ask questions, there are no references or learning devices that can be used, and you can't get up and move around and stretch like some people like to do. Me personally, during tests, I sometimes need to get moving and just get my blood flowing, and I'll take a lap around the building that I'm taking a test in, just to kind of pause and refresh. And so that helps me with test taking. I have first-handedly experienced and seen how these tests are inaccurate because of time limits during my test taking when I was in high school. I had extended time because I'm ADD, and that allowed me to have a 7-point difference in ACT score. So the time limit itself was hindering my ability to perform to the best of my ability and accurately for me. These tests are also inaccurate because they ignore skills of an individual and individual learning style. These tests ignore important skills like creativity, which are skills needed in college and in the workforce. Yet this test taking ignores creative thinking and out-of-the-box thinking. The tests demand memorization, recall of facts, and a mind that can process info fast by reading. And I'm not personally the fastest reader, but I could still, if I had a little bit more time on tests, I could probably perform just as well as somebody that naturally can read faster than me. High test scores tell you nothing about how a student can handle life problems and adapt to their surroundings. For the reasons mentioned above, these tests are simply inaccurate and should not be focused on during the admissions process. These standardized tests are biased because they favor those who have socioeconomic advantages and learning disorders. According to Jay Rory's, colleges are putting too much emphasis on standardized tests. If people have the financial means, they can get tutors that can prepare them for tests, books that can help them, but if they don't, people don't have the money, and their school is of a lower socioeconomic area, there's less funding than in private suburban schools. So children at lower socioeconomic schools will not receive the same preparation as those of higher socioeconomic status. And like I said, money can buy nice ACT textbooks or SAT textbooks, test prep classes, or online programs. So people that do not have the money or the resources, therefore, are at a disadvantage and probably do not do as well. As a result, they have lower scores and are depicted as not as smart, which it really is a matter of resources. On the flip side, many students that do not take ADD medicine, so say if someone is ADD, they're also at a disadvantage. But if someone is not ADD and they do go to the extent to try to get extended time, they're at a advantage over those that are not ADD. They have the extended time, although they don't need it. And some people take the ADD medicine before tests, which is not an accurate portrayal of students' test taking, especially if they're not ADD. The nature of the ADD drugs is to increase alertness, concentration, and mental processing speed. So these factors can significantly impact the test taking experience and one's abilities. So just another little picture that I have here. It is of a man telling an elephant, a dog, a penguin, and a monkey, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. So it's just kind of showing that people that are definitely in different categories, so say in a lower socioeconomic school versus a higher socioeconomic school, it's saying that it's just inaccurate because you're telling two different kinds of people or people in different situations to take the same test, and it's just inaccurate. So if colleges would not rely or focus on the SAT or ACT scores, higher education could return to its focus on identifying the true, deep, and brilliant thinker and developing them into the fullest potential instead of rewarding the most excellent test taker. Instead of measuring a student's intelligence from one pressure-packed test, they should consider reorganized approaches to prepare students for real-world success. Because standardized tests cause too much stress and anxiety and are inaccurate and are biased, the college admissions process should not focus on standardized test scores. Thank you.